What's up, guys? This is Matt, and today I'm very excited to be bringing you a game of Liberal Crime Squad. Now, this is a game I've been messing around with for maybe about a year now, and I really wanted to make a video, but I was having trouble, and I was able to reach out to Jonathan Fox, who's actually one of the current maintainers of the game. This game was originally designed by Tarn Adams, the same fellow that brought us Dwarf Fortress, which we know very well on this channel, and you know that his games can be quite complicated. Now, that's kind of why I want to do this Let's Play. It's going to start out as a tutorial, because this game can be very, very complicated to understand at first when you don't know what to do and you don't know how to do it. So that's what I'm going to try to show you in this first probably 2 videos, and then after that it'll be a Let's Play, and we'll just have a nice adventure. So I want to start off. So yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan Fox. I reached out to him. I wrote him a message on YouTube. I told him what my problem was, and he got right back to me and told me how to go about recording this game to get the best possible quality, and then that way it would be full screen for you guys watching on YouTube instead of just watching a small box. Because when you play this game, it's a very small windowed game on your desktop. You cannot blow it up to fill up your whole desktop. And that would have looked funny on YouTube, and you guys would have been looking at my desktop in this little tiny black square. So I'm glad, I want to thank him again for reaching out to me, or for responding to me and helping me make this happen. Another warning, I guess this will be, it's a very politically charged game, Liberal Crime Squad. You control I guess you would say, like a political terrorist group whose goal is to eradicate government and public opinion of the other side, and in this case the other side is the conservative side of things. Now, this does not directly reflect my political views, or probably even the political views of the people that created this game. It's just a video game, and I think as long as we can keep that in our heads, I think my channel will be able to enjoy this little adventure that we're gonna have here, this playthrough. I don't want it to get too political. If I see it getting really bad in the comments or anything like that, I'll probably just stop playing, because it's supposed to be fun. So I want you guys to get your head around that. If you have to, whenever you see something is liberal and it should be, and you're maybe on the conservative side, just place that in your head. And when I say liberal, pretend you heard conservative, and that'll work just fine. So for this first video, we are going to make our character. And that's how you start this game. You have one character who makes up the Liberal Crime Squad, but from there you can go ahead and recruit new members. And you'll get to that down the road. Maybe even in the first video I'll show you how to do that. That'll be part of our little tutorial. But in the first episode, we need to create our person, our founder of the Liberal Crime Squad. And to do that, you get a series of questions. And each question that they ask you in this game is going to add points to different parts of your character, be it stamina or agility, or maybe a skill such as writing or computers, and it's going to add to your intelligence and your heart and all these different attributes that define your character, and that will later determine how you are able to level up. So that's what we're going to do in this first video. We're going to create our character. And so I'm going to press any key. You can see this is a keyboard only game, but I'm going to use my mouse. I'll bring it into the film here, or into the screen here, and I'll use it just to point out a couple options sometimes. But you have to keep in mind, I'm not actually clicking anything. You have to use your keyboard for everything in this game. But that makes it great for like a laptop. Maybe if you're sitting on a plane or sitting somewhere, and you can play this game entirely, or you have to play it entirely on the keyboard, but it's good for places like that. You could play just for a few minutes and get a couple things done and not need a mouse, not need a huge setup to play it. So pressing either key to pursue the liberal agenda. All right, so here's a couple options we have. How do we want to play? We have classic mode, we didn't start the fire, nightmare mode. Just because this is the first game, we're going to just play classic mode. There is no conservative crime squad. That would be the liberal crime squad's counterpart. They're going to be trying to undo everything that we do throughout the game. So by me saying that, you can kind of interpret what the second 2 options are. The conservative crime squad's going to start active and strong when you play We Didn't Start the Fire, and nightmare mode, liberalism is forgotten. Because the point of this game is to sway public opinion and get all of the laws of the country over to the left, or to have a liberal slant. And to do that, we're going to need to get liberals elected into the House and to the Senate and to the White House, and to have our liberal president appoint liberal Supreme Court justices. So this game can take quite a while, and it could look like you're losing for a while, and you could still end up pulling it together, or you could look like you're winning for most of the game, and then somehow something happens and it just snowballs and the conservatives are able to take over the country. So we're going to just play classic mode. You can, I believe, also choose maybe a couple of the other options, but we're just going to leave it just at classic mode. You hit the letter A to check that off, and then we're going to press enter or any other key. And now we have no compromise mode or Democrat mode. This has to do with the end game. The end game, what's the word? The parameters. What brings about the end of the game? Either making all of the laws in the land elite liberal, which is as far left as you can get, or Democrat mode, where some of the laws, or it says most of the laws must be elite liberal, but you can have some that are just plain liberal. So we're going to do B because that seems like it'll be a little bit easier for us to do, especially for the first playthrough, and because this is semi-tutorial and that kind of stuff. So we'll do B. I just want to make it as easy for myself as possible right now. And we'll press another key to continue, and this is going to bring us into creating our character and answering some of these questions. Oh, I take that back. Okay. We're going to come up with a name and create our person. Then we'll answer the questions. So, okay. The first thing I want to do, because I am a male, it'll be funny if I'm trying to speak for females, I'm going to hit C to change this to male. And now this will give us different name options. So you can't actually type in the name you want, but if you hit the letter A, you'll see that it kind of goes through, and actually I just saw Barack. It'll cycle through some names, and actually sometimes I just like to hold the letter down and I'll let go. Okay, Peter, that's fine. And we'll cycle through the last names in the same way. I'll just hold down the letter B. Peter Monroe, I could do that. We'll hit the letter D, and it'll just cycle through some possible cities. Maybe I'll just hold this down and let go. Seattle, Washington. Okay, I could do that. And this is where you get the options for questions. Right now it's set to let me choose, and that means that you get to answer these questions the way you see fit, and that will determine the characteristics of your leader. Otherwise, the other option is let fate decide. And that means that the computer is going to choose the answers for you, and you will get any leader that it gives you. So we're going to go through the questions. I'm going to kind of walk through them, and we'll decide. You'll hear how I come up with my decisions as far as questions go. So I'm going to press enter. Peter Monroe from Seattle, Washington. Press enter. Okay. Insight into a revolution, my traumatic childhood. The day I was born in 1984. And you have 5 options here. So this is, it's no right or wrong. It's just how would you answer this question? So the day I was born in 1984, the Polish priest was kidnapped by government agents. It was the 3rd anniversary of the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. The Macintosh was introduced. The Nobel Peace Prize went to Desmond Tutu for opposition to apartheid. Or the Sandinista Front won the elections in Nicaragua. The doctor said I was a boy. My parents named me Peter Monroe. So you get a couple options here. The Polish priest was killed, the 3rd anniversary of the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. So really, what sticks out in your mind the most from the day you were born? And you can see how that could really determine the characteristics of a person. I'm trying to think. I feel like this sounds like a very, very left-leaning person, if that's what he remembers is the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. I think. I'm kind of thinking B or C. The Nobel Peace Prize went to this. This sounds like this was maybe a good role model that we had, and that's why we remember that opposition to. You know what? Let's do D. If that's what we remember a Nobel Peace Prize winner. That's a pretty smart leader that we have there. So I'm going to hit the letter D, and it brings you right on to the next question. So when I was bad, my parents grounded me and hid my toys, but I knew where they put them. My father beat me. I learned to take a punch earlier than most. I was sent to my room, where I studied quietly by myself, alone. My parents argued with each other about me, but I was never punished. Or E, my father lectured me endlessly, trying to make me think like him. And the first one that stands out to me really is actually this first one. My parents grounded me and hid my toys, but I knew where they put them. That sounds like a very sneaky person. It sounds like I could get away with a lot, and maybe even some type of lock-picking skills might come along with this. You know, I'm good at maybe breaking and entering type of stuff. So I'm going to select A. In elementary school, I was mischievous and always up to something. I had a lot of repressed anger. I hurt animals. I was at the head of the class, and I worked very hard. I was unruly and often fought with the other children. Or E, I was the class clown. I even had some friends. And right off the bat, I think the friends, this last one, that sounds pretty nice. And I think the head of the class sounded pretty nice. A very smart leader. And maybe having some writing skills, which could come in handy. We could write opinion pieces to newspapers to try to sway public opinion, or we could also possibly start our own newspaper. We could buy a printing press and print our own paper based on information that we get through spies. You know, maybe things that the CEO is doing badly or something like that. So actually, I like that answer. We're going to go with C. So I was the head of the class. When I turned 10, looks like we have no option here. Our parents divorced, so how do we remember it? Whenever I talked, they argued, so I stayed quiet. Violently. Acrimoniously. I don't know how to say that. I once tripped over the paperwork. D, my mom slept with a divorce lawyer. Or E, it still hurts to read my own diary. That sounds kind of, but you know what? That would have a writing skill to it, wouldn't it? It sounds like I'd be a very sensitive guy, but I would have some, actually, that's interesting. That if I was writing at 10 years old, that would lead to some good, probably newspaper writing skills. So let's go with E. All right, in junior high school, I was into chemistry. I wanted to know what made the world tick. I played guitar in a grunge band. We sucked, but so did life. I drew things a lot. I was drawing a world better than this. D, I played violent video games at home. I was a total outcast. Or E, I was obsessed with swords and started lifting weights. I think just in honor of this game and in playing Grand Theft Auto while I was growing up and Call of Duty and other FPS and other first-person shooters, we're going to go with D. I played violent video games at home, and I was a total outcast. I'm not quite sure what that is going to do to our characteristics, to our traits, but I think it sounds good. And maybe it'll give us some computer skills because we're a video gamer. So we're going to hit D. All right, things were getting really bad when I stole my first car. I got a few blocks before I totaled it. B, I went to live with my dad. He had been in Nam, and he still drank. C, I went completely goth. I had no friends and made costumes by myself. D, when I was sent to religious counseling, just stressing me out more. And E, I tried being a teacher's assistant. It just made me a target. I don't think I want to have anything to do with being a teacher. Making costumes, this could be interesting because what you wear in this game actually does affect... It has an effect on how likely you are to carry out certain actions. For instance, if you try to go into a laboratory somewhere in just plain clothes or a suit or something, you're going to stand out, and as soon as you run into somebody, you're going to be in some trouble. But if you walk around in a lab coat, you're going to fit in, and as long as you don't do anything too bad, at least in front of other people, you'll be able to walk around for a little while. So that would actually, I'm sure that would add to some type of tailoring type of skill, and that would that would help us make clothes. It looks like we could get some type of driving skill. Oh, and a breaking and entering skill, maybe like a security skill. I don't know if I want A or C. Let's go with A, the security skill, breaking and entering. That's a great way to make money early on in the game. Although I do want tailoring, but I do know a way to get high tailoring pretty quickly. Not that it's, it's a great way to make money. So I think if you don't like this first option, go with C. I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to hit A. All right, well, I knew it had reached a crescendo when I stole a cop car when I was only 14. I went to juvie for 6 months. My stepmom shot her ex-husband, my dad, with a shotgun, and she got off. C, I tried wrestling for a quarter, desperate to fit in. D, I got caught making out, and now I need to be cured of homosexuality. Or E, I resorted to controlling people. I even had my own clique of outcasts. Well, this sounds interesting. Having a clique of outcasts, that means that we pretty good at, persuasion and getting friends. It'll help our recruiting later on in the game. I stole a cop car. That's definitely going to add to some type of driving skill again, maybe the security skill again. I don't know about the other ones. I don't know how I feel about them. I tried wrestling. That would give us some type of fighting skill, which is always good. You know what, though? I think the persuasion is going to help because you're going to want to get people in your liberal crime squad. You can't do this all by yourself. It's impossible. So I think this will make the start of the game a little bit easier for us. So I'm going to press the letter E. Whoops. I wasn't on the screen. There we go. E. I was only 15 when I ran away, and I started robbing houses. Rich people only. I was fed up with their crap. I hung out with thugs and beat the shit out of people. I got a horrible job working fast food, smiling as people fed the man. I let people pay me for sex. I needed the money to survive. Or E, I volunteered for a left-wing candidate. It wasn't real, though, you know? I'm interested in this Robin Hood type feeling at the top here. And I'm not even sure how that would help our character out, but I kind of like it. Maybe give us some starting money? I don't know. But yeah, I like this top one. I started robbing houses. No. I don't know what I want to do. You know what? Let's volunteer for a candidate. That way we're already doing things with politics. Maybe that'll give us some edge. I can't think of it right now, but we'll go with E. All right, life went on. On my 18th birthday, I got my hands on an old Beetle. It's still in great shape. That'll be interesting because that lets you start with a car. That could be very important. I bought myself an assault rifle. I'm going to assume we still have it, so that'll start us with a gun. Guns could be very expensive in this game. I celebrated. I'd saved $1,000. Well, you need money in this game. You need to buy guns. If you don't start with a car, you need to buy a car. You could buy clothes and costumes. You also have to pay rent depending on where your safe house is. If it's in a nice hotel, you gotta pay a monthly rent. Also, you can use money to upgrade your safe houses or buy a printing press to make your own newspaper and maybe fortify your safe house. So money is very important in this game, and that's going to be something that we're using right off the bat. So that could be interesting. Sorry, I haven't even finished the options here. I went to a party and met a cool law student. We've been dating ever since. That could be good. A law student. Maybe they work. I think actually I know this option. You get a sleeper agent that works at the courthouse, and so if any of your men or you end up getting arrested, you now have a lawyer. You don't have to pay for a great lawyer. You already have a lawyer working at the courthouse, and then they could also be a spy for you and could maybe steal some documents, get you some stuff to write about in the newspaper. And the last option is I managed to acquire secret maps of several major buildings downtown. Well, that'll help you because the maps in this game are a lot like mazes. So there's a lot of dead ends. So a map would really help you get from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But I kind of like the sleeper law student idea, so we're going to go with the letter D. All right, for the past few years, I've been stealing from corporations. I know they're still keeping more secrets. B, a violent criminal. Nothing can change me or stand in my way. C, taking college courses. I can see how much this country needs help. D, surviving alone, just like anyone. But we can't go on like this. Or E, writing my manifesto and refining my image. I'm ready to lead. And I kind of like this surviving alone, just like anyone. We're a survivor. And that's what you want to be in this game, because you can recruit people and they could get killed or die or turn on you, or I guess, no, I don't know if they could turn on you. They could probably desert, though. But it all comes down to the founder of the Liberal Crime Squad. As long as your founder is active, the Liberal Crime Squad goes on and your cause can go on. So I think we're going to use the letter D. And it says, I live in Seattle, Washington, and it's about to experience real change. All right. A new conservative era. The year is 2009. Conservative President Roger Dents ends his second term with approval ratings in the high 70s and is succeeded by hardcore arch-conservative Dave Smart. With conservatives sweeping into power in the House of Representatives and Senate and a conservative majority in the Supreme Court of the United States, commentators are hailing it as the beginning of a new conservative era. President Dave Smart has asked the new Congress to move quickly to rubber stamp his radical arch-conservative agenda. The left seems powerless to stop this imminent trampling of liberal sanity and justice. In this dark time, the Liberal Crime Squad is born. Press any key. How do you want to be known to the people? And if you just press enter, it'll leave it with the name that you had chosen in the previous screen. So we're just going to leave it how it was. I'm going to press enter. And here we are to the main interface of the game. I am at the homeless shelter. It is January 1st, 2009. This is how the game will always start. We are Peter Monroe with our skills in the Liberal Crime Squad, and we are starting with some clothes. We don't have a weapon. Full liberal health. We are going by foot, and we have $7 in our pocket. And this is where I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't really teach you anything, but I gave you a nice rundown of what some of the questions could do for you, maybe some of the skills you could get from them. And in the next video, I will show you some things that are important to know how to do on this screen, because this is where most of the game will be played, choosing options, and I will show you what I think is the most important. And so the next video will be kind of a tutorial, and then we'll really get into playing the game. I won't be explaining step by step how to do everything, and we'll just be playing. So please, if you have any questions, concerns, leave them down in the comments. Let me know if you're interested in this game. I will also put a link to download this in the description, or a link to the forums. I don't remember. Wherever the download link is, I'll figure it out. I'll put it in there. I'll put a link to the wiki. I don't think it's been updated for the new version, but it's still quite accurate. And yeah, I want to thank everyone who keeps watching my videos, all the comments. You guys have been great. I also want to thank Jonathan Fox for helping me record this video. That was a huge help. I was really stuck. I feel stupid, but because I guess it was kind of an easy fix, but he gave me some great advice, really told me how to set this thing up to record it great. So I want to thank him again. And yeah, so until next time.